What's up, guys, and welcome back to another Real Madrid preview. This is the preview to Real Madrid versus Manchester City. Game of the season. Definitely, we have reached a point where these big Champions League knockout games come along. I'm not saying that Leipzig wasn't a big game, it was, but it just didn't have the same kind of feeling. Obviously, Man City are on another level compared to RB Leipzig, and they're gonna be a lot more competitive. They're gonna be arguably favorites going to this game. So it is absolutely, you know, exciting for neutrals, and I would find it exciting as well, even as a Real Madrid fan. And I would say that certain, Real Madrid fans as well would find that pretty exciting. But knowing that your team is going in as the so-called underdogs doesn't really give you the kind of confidence boost that you want. But it's totally fine. It's normal. You know, we'll just have to deal with it, I suppose. But I mean, what a game it's gonna be. You're taking on Man City. A lot to talk about, of course, in terms of looking into this game. Obviously, the preview, the teams, everything going this game. But you know, speaking of this game, it's very different to normal games, because normally I would just come on here, talk about how each team has been playing or the results, and get into the team, get into the starting 11. But I feel like because we are playing a Champions League game against Manchester City, we have to talk about a lot more in terms of the overall game. Now, first game at the Bernabeu, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a game that Real Madrid have to go out there and win. I think that if you don't win it at home against Manchester City, what are the chances you go away and you win? And essentially, playing at home isn't a great thing to start with, but you have to be able to still deal with it. You have to still be able to say, you know what, we are playing at home first. It's not what we prefer, it's not what we want, it's not what we like, but it's fine. We'll have to deal with it. And we saw last season 4-0 in the second leg. Obviously, the first game 1-1 draw. People were optimistic, and then you go away to the Etihad and you get humiliated. And some people would say that that's gonna happen again. I personally disagree, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But that's gonna give back flashbacks, of course. Why I don't think it's gonna happen again? Simply because it's a different team, it's a different squad, it's a different atmosphere, it's a different season. 1 year on, last season, I mean, look, we had Benzema, but he wasn't playing at his prime. It was the year after his Ballon d'Or winning season and Ballon d'Or winning year and his prime. So you have to obviously take that into consideration. Vinicius Junior, another year of building up his personal individual qualities, not having to rely so much on a player like Benzema, stepping up his game. Even Rodrigo has been stepping his game up. The midfield, a year older. Obviously, you have Jude Bellingham in there, who is now the goal scorer of the team, although we shouldn't really be relying on him for that. But we don't have a main focus point. Man City will be saying, look, we're going to have to mark Vinicius Junior, we're going to have to mark Bellingham. But these are players that like to free roam around. Vinicius Junior, we know he's a wide winger, he likes to play that way, but this season has often drifted into the central areas to score goals as well. And we know he can do that. Bellingham can obviously move forward and score. Rodrigo can move forward or out wide as well to score. So, the attack is a lot more free roam. There's a lot more space. There isn't a focus point. You don't have to get everything through the middle. You can go on the wide side, you can go to the middle. You can really surprise Man City in the way you attack. The midfield, Toni Kroos, I would say this season has been playing really, really well compared to last. Tchouaméni, obviously, always a very good player. And Valverde will be very, very key. I would say he's probably the most important player in this game, because Manchester City don't have that kind of player in the midfield. I mean, if you're comparing head to head, and we take Bellingham for example against Haaland, obviously the wingers against the wingers, Chouameni against Rodri. You compare Cruz and De Bruyne. Realistically, you're comparing Valverde to Bernardo Silva, and Bernardo Silva isn't Fede Valverde. You know, they're very different kind of players. So Fede Valverde will be key, quick, energetic. He has to help out that right hand side as well a lot. You know, I think Carvajal will be vulnerable. Obviously, if you are seeing that it might be Foden or it could be Jeremy Doku. I doubt it'll be Grealish, but maybe. But when you see players like Foden and Doku who are quick, they're really, really, dangerous when they go forward. Fede Valverde will have to step up his game to help Carvajal out. So obviously this team has gone a year. We've got new players come in as well. And last season we made a big mistake. The first game we started Rudiger, obviously ahead of, I want to say it was Militao, and when Militao came back, when we still had Alaba, we dropped Rudiger, and we know that's not going to happen this season. Rudiger is going to play in both games, and Rudiger, I'm not trying to say anything here, but Rudiger did pocket Erling Haaland in the first game. If he played in the second leg, who knows what could have happened. Of course, I know Haaland wasn't that influential in the second game. It was more Bernardo Silva and Julian Alvarez, but still, Rudiger, key player, and he's going to be key. But this is going to be a very interesting year. I don't know where to start with this. Man City, let's talk about their form coming to this game. Now, their last few games have been pretty up and down. 2 games in a row, they scored 4 goals in each game. 8 goals in the last 2 games. Against Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. But before that, at home to Arsenal, Arsenal went away to the Etihad and played probably the defensiest football, if that's a word. The most defensive football you could ever see. Was it like a 6-3-1? The lowest of low blocks you can ever see. And just a couple of weeks ago, they went away to Anfield and they got smoked. And this is a Liverpool side that, obviously have been inconsistent in terms of the last couple of games. Obviously against Arsenal before, but Liverpool, obviously, as a recording, just played Manchester United and drew, and they lost to Man United as well a couple of weeks ago. So, I'm not trying to compare, but if Liverpool, who has been struggling against a team like Man United, can play at home, against Man City, and even away, they did draw 1-1 away at the Etihad. If this Liverpool team can do that, we could. It's about getting the right system, because I personally believe that Man City are more vulnerable than they were last season. I look at some games. I look at obviously the Arsenal game. I look at Liverpool. These are vulnerable games. I look at them against Chelsea in Feb. That's a vulnerable Man City side. Obviously, they have had many good games as well ever since. But you have seen teams like Crystal Palace go away to the Etihad to get something. So Real Madrid can get something. It's definitely possible. It's definitely on. But which side of Real Madrid are we going to see? What is Ancelotti going to put in place? What is he going to say to the players? Is he going to overthink or overcomplicate this? Everything plays a huge part. As for Real Madrid, coming into this game, Rodrigo obviously scoring those 2 goals against Athletic Club Bilbao. And by the way, Athletic Club Bilbao just won a Copa del Rey against Mallorca, so fair enough. Obviously, if it was Atletico or Barca, I wouldn't be congratulating them, but Athletic Club, totally cool. And then obviously, the 2 games before, Osasuna away and Celta Vigo at home. Before that, you've got some pretty poor games. Leipzig, Valencia, Sevilla, Rayo Vallecano, and Leipzig. But Real Madrid can certainly get the game done. However, I've seen a lot of people say Real Madrid will cook Man City. Absolutely no way. I've also seen a lot of people who say Man City will cook Real Madrid. I don't see that happening either. I think it's going to be a very narrow game. It's probably going to be, if either side win, it's going to be by a goal. If not it's going to be a draw. I think across both games. I don't think that when we go to the Etihad, we will lose 4-5 now again. I don't think that will happen personally. So maybe just me being a little bit more optimistic and ambitious. But certainly, I do see that Real Madrid can do something. And yet to lose a game in all competitions since that defeat in the Copa del Rey to Atletico, and the only league defeat obviously against Atletico Madrid as well in September. So 2 losses this whole season, both to Atletico Madrid away. It's what it is, really, isn't it? But overall, played pretty well this season. Um, in terms of injuries wise, most of the team is back. Obviously, Militao is now back. Courtois will still be out, and Alaba will be out, of course, as we know. Nothing new. As for Man City, they've got a few. We have no idea if Kyle Walker will be back fit. John Stones came back against Aston Villa. No, sorry. Crystal Palace, sorry. And Edison was back on the bench. Nathan Ake could still be out as well. Let's see if there's any other absences. Highly doubt so. Foden and Doku had good rest. De Bruyne, Haaland, obviously, and Rodri came off in the game against Palace. So apart from Kyle Walker and Ake, who may be doubts for this game, probably looking at Man City's strongest team. So that's gonna be not helpful. But if Kyle Walker's out, that will be pretty good. I'm looking at the one-on-one battles. Obviously you're looking at Bellingham, Rodri. You're looking at Tchouaméni, Kevin De Bruyne. But I'm also looking at Rodrigo against Gvardiol. If Ake isn't back, it's Gvardiol, isn't it? And Gvardiol hasn't been good this season, let's be honest. I mean, he's been bought for £70 million, and Josko Gvardiol was meant to be one of the best centre backs in the world. And he's not even playing a centre back. Vinicius Junior. If Kyle Walker doesn't come back, who's gonna play right back? I do expect Rico Lewis not to start there. I do expect John Stones to be there though, and I think Vinicius Junior can cook Stones, and he can cook Rico Lewis. I think the only defender one-on-one that could stop Vinicius Junior is Kyle Walker in terms of speed. And if Vinicius Junior can cook Rico Lewis, can cook John Stones, that's gonna be 50% of the job done. But you have to be able to find the key pass to Bellingham, to Rodrigo, or Vinicius Junior to be able to produce something magical in scoring a goal, for example. And if you can do that, unlocking that left side of the pitch, that will be helpful. But speaking of the starting 11, let's get into it. Personally, for me, the back 5, look, this really isn't down to what I would pick. This is what I think will be the starting 11, by the way. Lunin will definitely play. Carvajal will definitely play. Rudiger will definitely play. And Mendy will definitely play. My problem is Nacho. Not because I don't rate Nacho. I mean, he's been solid. He's been playing, decently when he's been asked to. But when you've got Eder Militao back, and I know he might not be 100%, you have to start him at least. And maybe, if you want to, be more precautionary, you want to not risk it and not play him for the full game, fine. Bring him off after an hour, maybe 15 minutes, maybe halftime even. Cool. I think to start with Nacho and Rudiger would be not the best when you can do better. And I've even seen reports that Tchouaméni will start next to Rudiger. Please. No. Not because I don't rate Tchouaméni at centre back, but no one can do the 6 job as good as him. Not even Camavinga. Let alone Toni Kroos. You have to start Tchouaméni at 6. He is the player that will glue the entire midfield together. He has to stay there. And then next to him, Fede Valverde, as I said earlier, key, most important player in this entire game, I would say. Alongside Vinicius Junior and Bellingham, these 3 are key. And look, I could have put Camavinga there, but I feel like an experienced player will be picked by Ancelotti, and that's either Modric or Kroos. And considering Kroos has been playing really well the last couple of weeks, obviously for Germany as well, I would be inclined to believe Toni Kroos would start this game. And the front three picks itself: Bellingham, Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo. Joselu can't start, please. And I was tempted to think of Brahim Diaz, but who would you drop? If Ancelotti is feeling really, really brave, and I do support this idea, you could drop Bellingham into Kroos' role in that 8 and play Brahim Diaz 10, but that does mean that Bellingham can't really push as much forward. That also does mean that you are leaving your midfield exposed, because if Bellingham does push forward, you've got 4 attackers with it: Vinicius, Brahim, Bellingham, Rodrigo, and Tchouaméni and Valverde will be exposed. So I don't see that happening. So I would go with this. Brahim Diaz can come on. Joselu might be able to come on. Militao, if he can, come on for about 15-20 minutes even. I wouldn't bring Arda Güler on. I feel like it's too risky. And overall, that is probably the best you can go with. I mean, Man City, you're talking the caliber of players Man City have. It's gonna be difficult, of course it is, but you have to deal with it. You have to obviously go out there, and you have to get the job done. But of course, you have to be careful as well, because I believe Vinicius Junior, Tchouaméni, even around Camavinga, and I don't know if there's another one. Might be Bellingham, maybe. But I know Vinicius, Tchouaméni, and Camavinga are all 1 yellow card away from suspension for the next game. So I don't want Vinicius Junior to, be shouting and throwing his hands up at the referee. I don't want Tchouaméni to make a very, very bad tackle to get a yellow card. I don't want Camavinga to do the same, Just stay cool. Obviously, make the kind of tackles that you have to make. And if it really comes down to, you have to make the tackle that is a yellow card worthy tackle, then you know what? It's almost like, okay, fine, fair enough. What can you do? But for Vinicius Junior especially, don't be going at the referee, shouting, screaming at him. That will just put your team in more trouble. If Vinicius Junior misses the next game, we are cooked. Because I know we still have Rodrigo, Bellingham, and Brahim, but Vinicius Junior, as I've said, is the game changer. He is. So there's that. And lastly, this is probably going to be a 20-minute preview at this point. My predictions, look, as I said earlier on, it's either going to be a 1-goal win for either side, or it's going to be a draw in my opinion. I'm going to be optimistic, though. I'm going to say Real Madrid to win this game 3-2. I think it's going to be a very fantastic game. I'll be watching this game live as well. I mean, it's like 3 a.m. For me, but I'll be watching this game live. Hopefully Real Madrid get the job done. Hopefully, obviously, Real Madrid can progress through. I mean, what is the other game for this day? It's obviously as well. I mean, Arsenal Bayern on the same day, man. Bayern got cooked by Heidenheim, and Arsenal cooked Brighton. So I mean, you kind of can paint a picture here. I'll definitely be watching Real Madrid City over that game, but obviously we'll be keeping a lookout for that as well. But let me know what thoughts are down below. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Hit the moment date, subscribe to the channel on already, and hopefully when I come back for the next video, Real Madrid would have won, and we'll be here happy talking about the good times. Yeah, peace.